Yes.
First for the Legend Show, Walter Jacobson and Ron Majors, and second with the Kane assassination. I would like to have just a tenth of your career. I will love. You are a legend. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to that for you to allow me to interview you. Especially being a young reporter is good to me.
Well, good. I love young reporters. I'm ready to help you.
And it's good to finally hear your Anchorman voice.
Well, it doesn't change, does it?
So, our questions are being organized into three sections.
Mm-hmm.
The first talk about how you your first topic of your conversation that you had at Northwestern with the war on drugs, because that's one of the main premise for our Northwestern thing.
And what I think.
And then the third, the second section is like a profile you, and then the third is like a lightning round.
Okay, a lightning round. At my age, lightning strikes too often. But go ahead.
So the first set is the war on drugs. So you recently moderated a debate at Northwestern Law School Conference. So my first question is, in your opinion, do you think we are winning the war on drugs?
No, we're not winning the war. One of the things that Peter Bensinger said really stuck with me, and he came loaded with facts and statistics. The other gentleman came with rhetoric and passion. So, but Peter said that we are not filling up the prisons with marijuana prosecutions for small amounts. So that's good to know, because I thought that, this 2 million population in the United States was made up of, minor drug offenses. But I think the justice system is flexible enough. I'm glad to hear and think that it can adjust along the way. On the other hand, why shouldn't we put in jail somebody who brings in tons? So anyway, I thought it was good. I didn't hear the other panels, but what a good thing to. Did you sit through the whole thing?
I sat through.
Wow, how was it?
It was. I would say it's like you said. Actually, you had a good first. You said that some people were filled with facts and statistics, and other people just feel rhetoric and passion because it seemed like it was just like a yo-yo through the whole conference. So those were great.
Yeah, that's a. There are two sides.
Yeah.
As well.
But my main thing was I was mostly evaluating like how they presented information. And it's like you said, you could really tell there's between people who actually gave like the guy who really spoke to me was Dr. Anderson, and he gave like contrasting statistics about how teens are not using marijuana or traffic, because he was actually presenting new information.
Yes, yeah,
and that's
that was new. That's right. And we're smart. We give us the information, and we will make up our own minds. I don't have to sit there and have somebody really get worked up.
Yeah.
I'm worked up anyway.
Yeah.
So
it's a worked up issue.
Yeah, that is interesting. And for you, that would be really important, because a nice, reasoned, fact-filled presentation does have strength.
More than just rhetoric.
Yeah, I think so.
Like you can watch a movie to get that.
Yeah.
And so my next
or listen to your wife.
Or your mother.
Oh, your mother.
So my next question is, how do you believe the war on drugs is impacting Chicago?
Way back in the 1970s, I think it was 75 maybe, I did a story in cooperation with a metropolitan task force and the DEA. And we set up our cameras inside a garage. We were shooting through a hole in the garage, through a fence. And the people would walk in down the little sidewalk in between buildings and pay their $5 and get a balloon of heroin through the fence. It was the Herrera gang from Mexico. It was a dramatic and shocking report. And then at that time I did a story, and I said that 20 years ago we were also talking about heroin, and now we see a flow of drugs that has not stopped and nothing has changed. I could do that same story today with the same stand-up end and conclusion. So it's almost impossible to stop the flow. Impacted, it's behind much of the violence on the south and the west side. they'll divide up the territory where they sell drugs. And now a lot of it is there for other reasons too, but the fact is that's the major business of these gangs. So if you have a model of a gang leader and a drug dealer who are making thousands of dollars simply by dealing in illegal drugs, compared with a preacher that they see, and an athlete, they make a lot of money too, and role models that are few and far between,
Mm-hmm.
who can argue? The success story is the drug dealer.
Mm-hmm.
So it has impacted us, and we see the statistics in homicides against children. You know, it's a war zone. Did he dress like me? Is that why you read?
Actually,
Why that one?
this is told. I saw your picture in the Federal Reserve. I was like, what is that?
No,
Yeah.
you saw it in the post
Yeah,
office on the wall.
I was like, okay, I'm trying to exact same.
He figured you out.
He did. I had another young man at Northwestern who walked in for kind of a similar thing. He went on to become an NBC correspondent, and I looked at him and I said, "My God, you've got my suit on, my tie."
Okay.
That's fun. That's fun.
You're good luck. You're good luck.
Yeah, actually, Robert Redford did that. He came and we had dinner, and he was doing a movie called Up Close and Personal,
I remember that
where he
movie.
played the news director. And I looked at it, and he's got jeans, a blazer, and tennis shoes. And I said, well, that's what I was wearing. When we had dinner, was he checking me out?
And now he's really copying you because he's producing Chicagoland.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
Yes, and the death row stories at the same time. I said, well, why didn't he ask me? I'd be happy to.
That's so funny.
And speaking of, actually, it's a good segue into my next question. What do you believe the mistakes people in the media make when it comes to reporting on the drug issue?
Well, the media sees things through the eyes of the police, because that's where we get the information. The mistake, and I don't know that I would call it a mistake because it takes a lot of gumption to go on the other side and actually talk to gang members and to check out whether they were doing it just for a little get back at somebody who disrespected them or whether it was, let's say a homicide was actually caused by a drug deal going bad. It's a matter of, that's kind of a closed society, especially when you've got crime on one side and you can only see it through the police.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially we're getting one side of the story. That is not to say that there's another side that we're not reporting that is totally honest and different. But, for instance, I went down, I tried to get the other side, and ran into these young men who are seen both by members of the community and everybody who watches on television as monsters, killing young children. They really don't care about anything. We've bred these criminals. And yet, it was very sad. Every one of them that I talked to had this deep longing in their eyes that I felt. They were just reaching out. They just were sort of saying to me, and I don't think it was just in my head, how do I get out of here? I've never talked to a white man before. You don't seem so bad. What do you expect us to do? We're no longer in school. We don't have athletics. We don't have the art to mold us or to give us a role model. I don't have a father at home. I don't have a single person that I know who goes to work at a job for 8 hours a day. It's just really sad. And I felt connected to them, and I felt that they just needed a break. Nobody is born bad, but my God, nature or nurture, what do we expect? We take away all, we take away preachers, teachers, coaches, all those things that for me were life-changing. And they molded me as my father, of course. I was so lucky in a father and a mother in a household. And these kids don't. What I would do is create a kind of a military, build a finishing school, a boot camp, and give them some pride. Give them another gang to belong to. Only this one was run by honest people, and I went to boot camp, and it was more impressive than college.
And actually, I
Right
actually can relate to you too, because I actually graduated from a military high school, Phoenix Military Academy. So
Yeah. Do you feel that?
It's a certain type of structure. Like I was one of those kids who wanted the structure.
Yeah. Well, they all should have it. We should reinstitute the draft.
Yeah, and then did you hear a story about how they're trying to take Gerald TC out of that Chicago Academy? I was like, they can't. They should.
It's crazy. Crazy.
Because that gives some kids hope.
Yeah, they should. Yeah, that's right. You have to build. It takes a village to raise a child, but you have to build a way out. Education can be a way out. Athletics can be a way out. The military, going off to college. Those are the traditional ways. Even for a small town. I came from a small town, Independence, Kansas, and we all left. Now, some didn't leave, and they're still there. And they settled for the jobs that are available, and there aren't many. But those who did get out of the small town will go back periodically, as I do, and it's wonderful. You appreciate the people, and also what you had. If you got out of line, would tell your parents, or the preacher, or the Sunday school teacher.
Like Andy Cooper.
Yeah, or the first job. One of the most, influential people in my life was my first boss. It was at a radio station.
Okay.
And I had to get there on time, every day. I had to focus on my job. And he was listening all the time. He'd be in the apartment down the hall from the radio station. And I remember April 1st, everybody, it's April Fool's Day, let's have a joke. And so I thought, I was what, 19, 18, something like that. So I went in and I ripped off some stories, and I knew they were listening on the intercom in the office. And I said, and I can't imagine that I said somebody had died or killed, but it would have been the equivalent of, there's been an assassination attempt on the president. And, well, they came in and they didn't lay a hand on me, but I wish they had. And I have never done it again, because they taught me, adults teaching a kid, the responsibility I had in broadcasting information to other people to help them. They trusted me. Viewers trusted the radio person. And it's just not something you fool with. But anyway, that kind of an experience, where do the kids who have no jobs really go for that? They go to the gang leader, the drug dealer, and they can't say no. It's not exactly the learning situation that I would like for my child.
And then my last question for the war on drugs. You're like a master you're a master documentarian. You found a way to mix news and movies in order to convey a positive message. So I'm one of many fellows with Northwestern, and my question is, what advice do you have for us as we approach this drug issue from a multimedia or from a printing standpoint?
Well, you want to perfect your tools. That's a camera, that's sound, that's writing, so that you can tell the story in a visual way. So that's your tool, that's your pencil, if you will. And then you have to choose the story you want to tell. Is it drugs from the victim, who, you know, and you go down and shoot somebody who's high, or God forbid, shooting up. I've shot plenty of people who are shooting up. Do you go from the drug dealer and try and follow him along? Do you go from the policeman? Do you tell from the perspective of a judge who sees, you know, someone come to him for the 5th time? It's so you have to choose your story properly, and you say, can I do this on time with the money I have? Those are all considerations when you're doing documentaries. And then you have to have the commitment to do it at all hours of the day and night. It's really a combination of business and passion. Passion for an art. It's business and art. That's what it is. Combining those two to communicate. And I'll tell you that these days, people are visual. People want to wait till they can see it.
Yes, but that's what social media is so.
Yeah, that's right, rather than read all about it. So you can do it, and you may have a unique position. So that there are 2 things that make a good documentary. One is access, and 2 are characters that you can identify with. Using Chicagoland, the current series that's on, and now on CNN, about Chicago. They had unbelievable access that no other news media got in the city of Chicago. One reason is that the mayor probably got a Valentine deal from his brother, a WME agency. But so there's one half, and they were trying to find characters. They chose Rahm Emanuel as one. He's a good character. The second was somewhere in the more an issue than a character, because it was the teachers union. And then the other character was the principal dozier. And I wanted to know, will she win? Oh, and McCarthy, the police superintendent. I didn't think they established them quite well enough to warrant a big rating, but nevertheless, that's what they were trying to do. You want to know, will Rahm be overwhelmed by the problems, or will he win? Will McCarthy bring down the homicide rate? And will Principal Dozier walk away from the school having saved kids, or will she fail?
We can't put back what you said, 2 things for a good documentary again?
Access
Access.
and characters.
Thank you. So now it's time for the Bill Kurtis profile. Just think of this as like host chat with Ryan and Val, because I'm actually really good at friends with them at When You See Live too. So,
Good.
So just think of this as like a host chat.
Oh,
So-
that's chat.
So what made you get into this business?
Well, I did the same thing that Michael Jordan did when I was interviewing him, and he said, first of all, you have to assess your talents. For him, he was tall, he was fast, and he liked to play basketball, and was pretty good. Although he did say that he didn't learn how to play basketball until he began the NBA. So for me, about 16, I realized you've got a deep voice. You have access to the local radio station. So if I can get a job there, I can start early, like Tiger Woods, not quite as early as Tiger, at 5, you know, swinging that golf club. But I can get a lot of the mistakes out of the way by the time I get to college. And I enjoyed it. And if you do something you love,
You never work a day in your
you
life.
never work. And it's absolutely true.